Hi, my name is Tommy. Welcome to my channel where I make whatever I want. I'll usually show you what I create in a week. I tend to make many random things. For example, I made that thing when I was in Korea for the first time. I got some random wood chips on the ground, colored it with color pencil, and stuck it on a pencil holder. And I like to think that plants are part of creation as well. And I actually put seeds in these pots from the fruits that I ate. And I think dealing with my plants will be part of me showing you what I create as well. Also some paintings. Recently, I decided to live my life more creatively. Instead of thinking too much about being good, I wanted to just make things. By the way, I love platypuses. That's a platypus from Australia when I went to Australia. You know this one, Perry the platypus. And in Korea, actually, this is a very popular character, a platypus character called Ogu, because platypus is called 오리더구리, and then short form Ogu. I have an idea to put a platypus right there. These plants kind of look like a little forest, and I think a platypus can actually live here quite nicely. This little thing can peek out like this. I'll make something similar out of clay, and then it will peek out and watch me. That's a tea diffuser, by the way. Alright, let's make a platypus. There are paper clays. You can find them in many stationery shops in Korea. Many Korean houses don't have ovens, so I think this was the best option I had. Creativity comes from working with what you have, I think. Paper clay is just like any other clay, but you put some water and form your shape with your hands. There's a reason why I like platypus and is an inspiration for me. I'm born in South Korea, but I moved to Singapore before I entered elementary school. Then I moved to Hong Kong before middle school. I went to Chicago for my university, then moved back to Seoul 8 years ago. Because I lived in so many different places, my cultural identity is really mixed. Platypus looks like a beaver and a duck. It's an egg-laying mammal. It's a strange animal. My mixed cultural identity made me unique, kind of like platypus. I didn't go to art academies, I just did art in school and eventually did IB art for 2 years. So after 10 years, I'm trying art again. It kind of looks like a buff platypus now. I love it. I smoothed the platypus with more water. So chubby. So cute. You can tell that I really enjoyed making this platypus. Finished. Look at his cute butt. Here are some montage. Two days later, it was time to paint. But before that, I decided to make a special card for a special person. I cut a paper in a reasonable size and I wrote the letter in a card. So I tried to write on that thick paper, but then it was kind of hard to write. And there were a lot to write. I'm actually writing a lot of words for the person. So what I'm going to do is that I have one of these calendars that I take the one paper out for every date. So I'm gonna use the leftover papers. I got like maybe 30 pages to write for this person. So I'm gonna use the back of the calendar. It'll be kind of nice to see the back of the paper, kind of nice to see the illustrations. And also, as I'm writing, I'm gonna draw some little cute illustrations as well. Also, because there's so many papers, I think I might make like a mini book, maybe use a bookbinding technique. I actually don't know how to do bookbinding, but I have some materials to help me with the bookbinding. So I'm just gonna wing it out. I don't know how to make them, but I'm just gonna wing it. So let's see how it goes. Oh my god, I am sweating so much. So I am using that bookbinding needle and I'm doing something. Not exactly sure what I'm doing, but it'll work out. And it is a workout because I'm sweating making this. I really didn't know what I was doing. I'm sure for those of you watching this who knows bookbinding is probably cringing at what I'm doing. I love to learn real bookbinding techniques in the future, but for now, I just had to make my idea a reality first. I actually used to make notebooks for myself when I was in middle school, so I'm doing what I used to do back then. I was actually really enjoying what I make. I loved the whole process and I loved how it was turning out. After I finished the bookbinding, I decided to use gouache to paint the front part of the book. Like I mentioned earlier, I didn't learn art too professionally. So after finishing IB art, and then 10 years passed by, I'm trying art again. It took me a long time to realize that that's where my talent is. I didn't know arts and crafts could be valuable until recently. I always thought doing something for others, serving others, is more worthy and noble. So I chose to study psychology and education and kind of ignored my artistic talent. I got a lot out of those academics, but over the course of 10 years, I learned that I have to make myself happy with what I enjoy doing. And the joy of creating can translate to others, and it will actually help others in my own way. This is the finished front side. Since I had gouache paints out, it was time to finish painting the platypus. I chose gouache instead of acrylic paint because I didn't want the platypus to have too much of a shiny look. So far so cute. Before I finished my platypus, I got hungry. I have a bunch of basil pots, so I decided to cut a lot of them and put them in my leftover pasta and salad. You actually have to cut the top of the node of the basil plant so that more basil leaves can grow from the cutting. More montage here. Oh, it's kind of easier to see the other side of the room. It's very messy over there, isn't it? Oh no, the mouse. I actually harvested way more basil than I thought I could. So I'm actually going to use some of these longer ones and probably propagate them. So let's see how it goes. I put the remaining basil in empty glass like so. I still have a lot of basil left. I washed them and put them in my leftover pasta and salad. I guess you can call this one of my creations for a week. Okay, back to really finishing the platypus. Gouache worked really well with the paper clay. I think that's because the paper clay absorbed the paint very well. Here's a platypus montage. Now I gotta clean up the mess over here, probably do my dishes, and yeah, this is it for Thursday. Oh, by the way, my room looks amazing right now. I actually finished a crochet coaster off camera, so that's on the list of what I made. So in summary, I made a platypus that lives on a basil pot, a binding book for my special friend, cut some basil leaves to eat, made a crochet coaster. That's it for the last week of August. Stay curious and stay creative. See you next time.